Risk number 3, not identifying all of the sources of ESI that may be discoverable. And this, we're going to go quickly to another poll question. Rashmi, if you want to go ahead and send that out. And this question is, what is your organization's policy regarding the annotations made by directors in a board portal? So if you don't have a board portal, then obviously you don't need to respond to this because we're working with passageways there. Nick, if you can sort of take an informal poll among the folks who are there, here are the 3 kind of answers to the board poll. So either annotations remain on the individual director's portal and the company takes no action with them, the annotations are deleted by the administrator within a fixed time after the meeting is concluded, or the organization has no policy or procedure for dealing with them. And the annotations are the notes that a board member would make on the documents that are included in a board portal. So, you know, you essentially create notes just like you'd create a note on, say, an iBook or a PDF or something if you're used to using those features.
Okay, the votes are in. I'm going to go ahead and close this poll. 57% voted that their organization has no policy or procedure. 40% said that it remains on the individual director's portal, and 10% said it's deleted by the administrator within a fixed time.
Okay, so those are good. Those are numbers that are fairly consistent with what I see in practice. And the question becomes, when you're policy making, these annotations are a form of ESI that your board members are creating when they're engaging. And if I'm a savvy lawyer who knows that you're using a board portal and these annotations may exist, I may ask for them. And there are arguments for producing them and there are arguments against, but you want to be able to think about that. You want to mull that over with your e-discovery counsel and with your litigation counsel as to whether those need to be protected, whether they even need to be maintained once a decision is made. But they are written information that is ESI and is discoverable, generally speaking, if they're relevant and responsive in litigation. So you'll want to develop a policy around them. And that's just one example of sources of ESI that you have to think about. So essentially, your team needs to sit down and specifically as it relates to board communications, say, what are the ways in which my board members communicate either with us or with the rest of the world that may impact us? Do they have presence on social media? Do they text with other board members? Is there a reason why their mobile phone would ever tie back to the organization? You know, there are instances that aren't included in this presentation, but there are instances in which board members from prominent boards of directors have been arrested for DUIs and have videos released to YouTube from the body camera of the police officer because someone goes via a FOIA request and gets the video from the police department and then puts it up on YouTube, and then suddenly it's released. So those are the kinds of things that you need to think about and you need to be engaging with. It is a world where, in some ways, Big Brother is always watching because Big Brother is just about anybody. And cell phone video spreads faster than wildfire. And open records requests to municipalities and organizations, which is a lot of what I deal with, are very rampant. And they're used for any process in litigation that they can be. So these are a few examples of sources of ESI. You'll want to sit down and think about which ones are key to your organization. Social media in particular is very important, and one of the things that you'll want to know is how your board members are engaging on social media, because ultimately what your board members do reflects on your organization. There are a couple of issues here that you just don't think about. You know, this particular one here with about Donald Trump is actually a pretty funny one. Donald Trump tends to say some pretty crazy stuff on Twitter, and whether you're a fan or not of Donald Trump, it's usually pretty funny, the kinds of responses that he gets. I don't know if you recall when the gentleman was chosen to replace Jon Stewart on The Daily Show, that within 3 hours maybe of the announcement that he was going to be replacing Jon Stewart, he was immediately called out as having a whole bunch of racist tweets in his Twitter account. And although they were deleted probably almost instantly after he came upon them or had to defend them. They had been screenshotted and shared around the internet in such a viral capacity that they live forever. The other thing to consider is that the Library of Congress now archives all public tweets. So every public tweet since 2009 is now a part of the Library of Congress. Whether you can successfully get that information via a FOIA request from the Library of Congress is still an open question, but all that information is there, so it's being captured. The last thing that's there is a really interesting Facebook case in which the daughter of a guy who sued his former school who terminated him for age discrimination, he settled with the school and was to get a payment for them, and his daughter, there was a very strict confidentiality provision in the settlement agreement, and his daughter went on Facebook and posted what you can see is listed there in the yellow box. And as a result, the lawyers for the school invoked the confidentiality provision and rescinded the settlement. And because that settled the case, that was it. He didn't have any other recourse.